Welcome to this special episode of Amari Purple Talk, a podcast where I share my thoughts on the Prince musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, and today's CD vinyl comparison will focus on the Prince album Lovesexy. I will be comparing the recently released Sony Legacy reissue with an original German pressing of the Warner Brothers distributed vinyl from 1988. But first, if you want to keep up to date on episodes of Amari Purple Talk and other content on the Amari Communications channel, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and with that down, let's get started. All right, so Lovesexy is the 10th studio album by Prince. It was released on May 10th of 1988 by Paisley Park Records and Warner Brothers Records. The album was recorded in 7 weeks from mid-December 1987 to late January of 1988. And while it wasn't a huge seller compared to even say Sign of the Times or Parade or 1999, this is a very well-loved album by many. The tour behind it, again, probably didn't get the momentum that Prince desired, but it is a memorable tour for a lot of fans of this album. I was actually in San Francisco when I saw the Lovesexy tour at the Oakland Coliseum and the after show at the Warfield, which was November 10th of 1988. Another fun fact about my history with this record. The day that I bought the cassette, which was, I think, the day of release, actually, that same day, a friend of mine gave me a bootleg copy of the Black Album. And so those two albums are kind of synonymous with that late spring, summer of 1988. I played the Black Album more. In fact, for those that aren't familiar with the history behind the recording of this album, the Black Album was intended to be the follow-up to the Sign of the Times album. And it was a pretty funky record just to kind of, let some of his R&B audience know, hey, I'm still funky, still got it. But the material, I guess, in his mind was kind of going to a dark, negative place. So he had an epiphany one night and decided to just completely shelve the record, just lock it up in the vault. And the recording sessions for the Lovesexy album began immediately after that. So for me, listening to the Black Album, I played that more in the spring and summer of 88 than I did Lovesexy. I mean, I did like a lot of the songs on it, but it really didn't click for me as an album that I would continually revisit until about 1994. So though it's not probably a top 10 favorite Prince album of mine, I enjoy listening to it. And a lot of times I enjoy listening to it in its entirety. The other thing, the fascinating thing about this release, that if you bought the CD at that time, Prince sequenced the CD to where it played, where every song was a continuous track. So you couldn't skip to, say, song 4, or if you wanted to just hear Positivity, you had to fast forward your CD all the way through the album till you got to, say, Positivity. Or if you just wanted to hear, say, When Two Are in Love, you had to fast forward to do it. Or if you wanted to revisit the song, rewind it. It's kind of a pain to a lot of fans. If you listen to the Lovesexy Revisited episode of Amari Purple Talk, where we discussed that album in depth and kind of its pros and its cons as to its success or failure, depending on how you look at it. By all means, check that episode out. There were some subsequent releases of the CD, like this one, that allowed you to skip the tracks and play your favorites, or or gave you the option, if you want to listen to the whole CD, listen to the whole CD. The Sony reissue honors Prince's intention by keeping everything as one continuous track. So if you buy the CD version, or actually this is the only reissued version by Sony Legacy. There is no vinyl reissue for Lovesexy as of now. Originally, when Prince was still with us and he got his master recordings back, he did authorize the reissue of his classic Warner Brothers era on vinyl. And there was an intent by Warner Brothers to release a vinyl pressing of it, but I think with the estate signing the initial deal with Sony, thereby giving Sony the rights to everything to release past 2021. Then, obviously, I guess the 2015 or 2016, 17, whenever it was going to be released, Lovesexy, that got put on the back burner. So as of now, there's no vinyl reissue. But again, if you do purchase the CD, be prepared for it to be one continuous track as Prince intended. All right, so with that said, how do these versions stack up? Well, one thing that I did notice in my comparison, in order to get accuracy of the origins of this particular vinyl, and comparing it to the CDs, I found out that the original vinyl pressing from '88, the original CD, and the Sony reissue were all pressed in Germany. So these are German pressings of various forms of physical media. So that kind of contributes to how close of a race this one's going to be. Unlike the Dirty Mind comparison, where I had both the reissued vinyl and the reissued CD. But surprisingly, given that we have an original pressing and a reissue, that there's not a lot of difference. There is no distinct difference other than that the vinyl is more open in sound. It gives you more range. One thing I do enjoy listening to the vinyl, the horns pop out more on this one. So you can hear Eric Leeds and Atlanta Bliss. And the horn arrangements are just amazing. I mean, they were great as long as I was listening to the CD or the cassette, for the past, 30 plus years. But to hear it on the vinyl for the first time, and I've had this vinyl for maybe about 2 or 3 years, but in doing this comparison, was the first time I actually brought it out to listen. So yeah, I was blown away by just the sound. And I'll get into more of what I like about the vinyl version in a minute. Again, the Sony reissue, it's one continuous track. And of course, the original CD, at least the copy that I got, allows you to skip the tracks. But going back to the vinyl, I love listening to the vinyl. I think the album as a whole works better on vinyl. If you can, just imagine a world where CDs never existed, or music videos didn't exist, or at least they didn't exist in the sort of MTV way that we had been accustomed to throughout the 80s. If you thought about it more, if it was a rarity, and if Prince kind of had more, I don't know, not to say his videos were bad for Lovesexy. Again, check out our video for Lovesexy Revisited. We go in depth, me and the guests on the show, we go in depth about, just how it could have benefited from better video production and things of that nature. But just kind of remember a time, or imagine a time, if CDs didn't exist, or videos weren't so integral to the selling of an album. And you can just kick back, listen on headphones, or just, if you had a good stereo system or something, or a good component set, just kick back and just listen, and just the vinyl. It's a different perspective. And, I'm sorry I didn't break this out sooner. Like I said, I just bought it just to have in my collection. I just wanted a vinyl version of it. But like I said, just playing it just for this episode, man, I can't say enough about the vinyl. I don't know. It doesn't need a remaster. The vinyl, like if Warner Brothers went ahead and reissued the vinyl back in whatever 2017 or whatever, 16, 17. Yeah, I think a lot of listeners would enjoy it. The CDs, both the Sony reissue and the original pressing, there's not a lot of difference in the sound, as opposed to if you listen to an original pressing of Sign of the Times versus the remaster. The remaster just leaves the original in the dust. Prior to the remaster, the best way to listen to Sign of the Times was if you had either the original vinyl or the 2015 Warner Brothers reissue of the vinyl. Those would have been the best ways to listen to that album. But here, between that and the original vinyl, there's no real distinction. And that's not a bad thing. Like I said, not everything needs a remaster. But that may be inevitable when they eventually do a Lovesexy Super Deluxe Edition. I would probably enjoy it. If they ever do, then I would probably do a comparison of the remaster versus the original physical media. Who knows? Hopefully we can get that sooner than later. Off topic, speaking of a Super Deluxe Edition, if they do, keep the remastered CD. I'm not going to piss a lot of people off, but keep the remastered CD as the long continuous track, but have a second CD that would allow you to skip, around the tracks if you want to. I'm not sure if there is enough vault material for a Lovesexy Super Deluxe, but if that is the case, like I said, have that remastered CD be the continuous long track as Prince intended it to be. The second CD could have the Black Album plus the individual Lovesexy tracks that allow you to just play your favorites or skip around if you want to, or if you didn't feel like listening to the whole CD at that moment, you could do that. Then have a CD of all tracks, plus your extended versions and single edits and live CD, Blu-ray of the Lovesexy concerts, to kind of balance it all out. But getting back to the CD vinyl comparison, there is no clear winner in this one. For me, the original vinyl will probably get more play just because of its warmth. The original CD pressing that allows me to play a selection of tracks, that's a close second. As well as streaming, because now they have it set up on your streaming services to where you can play the individual tracks of the Lovesexy album if you want to. And then the Sony reissue, I mean, I'll probably still listen to it if I just feel like listening to it as Prince intended, just the long, continuous thing. I will be in the mood to play the entire album. So I don't know, your ears might be different. What do you think? Did you purchase the Sony reissue? If you did, what do you think? Does it sound better than your original cassette or your original CD? Or if you were lucky enough to get the vinyl back in '88, what's your comparison? Leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts. And that is going to end this CD versus vinyl comparison of the Lovesexy album. And again, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified of any other CD vinyl comparisons, episodes of Amari Purple Talk, and all Amari Communications content. And until next time, create your day and create your life. Peace. Singularity. I'm Richard Cole, and today's CD vinyl comparison will focus on the Prince album Lovesexy. I will compare the recently released Sony... Man, Bruce Lee just kung fu my record.